Listen, I am sorry. A while ago I made a video titled African Cichlids Suck, and I was wrong. I'm sorry. Just kidding, they actually do suck, and I've even got 5 more reasons why. But stick around to the end of this video and I'll give you a couple of new reasons why you might love them anyway. Here we go. The first one's a really big one for me, and it puts a huge damper on all of my ingenious plans for my tanks. And it will for you too, trust me. I should mention that for the purposes of this video, when I refer to African cichlids, I'll just be referring to peas and haps, nothing else. Some fish are just easy to find. You'll think to yourself, "Self, I think I'd like a red-tailed shark." I had that very thought a few months back, made a few calls, and poof, there's a red-tailed shark in my tank that I picked up directly from a local fish store. You want some tetras of just about whatever kind? Head to town and you got them. With these African cichlids of mine, it's not so much the same. First of all, I'm typically not buying from local fish stores unless I've verified that they've come from a good local breeder or another good source, and that can be kind of hard to do. If you have or want a gorgeous African cichlid tank, then you're going to want the best stock there is to help ensure that they'll be, first of all, healthy, like my boys here, and second, that they'll all color up nice and pretty, like my boy Javier. Check him out. And he's not even wearing his full dress uniform yet. Carry on, Javier. Did I just digress? I think I did. My point here is that you'll want to buy from a few select breeders and distributors of these crazy guys, and let me just say that I won't be buying any of my cichlids from big box stores. I have before, but I won't again. Too many red flags with genetics, juicing, and whatever else can go wrong. But when you have your stocking list all ready to go, and you hop online to get your order going, you know what you're going to find? And this isn't just one seller, it's everywhere. So you have to do one of a few things. You either have to make a huge list and wait for them all to become available at the same time, which will never happen, or order a few fish here and there as they become available, and that's going to cost a fortune because of shipping. And the last thing you can do is compromise. And this is what I've done. I don't mean huge compromises, small ones. See this Mdoka white lips right here? I didn't even want one. But the options were limited and it pushed me in his direction, and you know, he's actually one of my favorites now. And I'm really glad I got him. So you might wind up with some cichlids that you weren't really after, but the good thing is with African cichlids, there really aren't any ugly ones. They're all showstoppers. And to be fair, this shortage of stock isn't just limited to African cichlids. You'll also find it with American cichlids and lots of other specialty fish out there. But it is one reason why African cichlids can suck. Bless their crazy little hearts. Oh, and if you have a heart,
you will subscribe. Ding ding.
The next reason African cichlids suck actually took me a while to figure out. At first I thought it was an aggression issue, but it turned out it had nothing to do with aggression, at least not directly. You want to keep an African cichlid tank scarcely decorated. Don't even get me started on plants with these nut jobs either. I'm just talking about giving them room to move, because they love that open swimming space so much. Well, I gave them this open swimming space early on with Alcatraz, only adding some smaller real rocks along the lower part of the tank. Kind of boring and, if I'm being honest, ugly. I think it looks much better now. Let me know if you agree. And don't worry, I don't have any feelings, so you won't be hurting them. Well, one of the reasons I'm using fake rocks now is because of what happened with the real rocks. You may be inclined to believe that your sharply edged rocks are fine with your African cichlids because you watch them glide so easily around them, never even coming close to hurting themselves on them. I thought the same thing, but I kept waking up and seeing that a fish would have one cloudy eye. And if your fish has 2 cloudy eyes, then generally it's because of an infection and not trauma. But 1 cloudy eye means that someone got pissed off and made a hit. And even though I never saw it happen, here's why I think it only happened at night. I think a fish would show his true colors around bedtime and go after another inmate. And since it was so dark, the fish getting picked on would dart away and not even be aware of where he was going, glancing by a sharply edged rock and damaging his little eye or his scales. Not only that, but sometimes I believe, again no proof here, I believe that when I would wake up and find a mysterious death, a fish is fine one day and you go to bed and woke up with a dead fish with no signs of illness or abuse, I think that was because he was spooked by one of his devilish inmates and swam full speed into an aquarium panel to escape his clutches. Since I've figured this out, I've switched to fake rocks, which are a lot softer, plus they take up less water volume, an added bonus. And I added a nightlight so they can still see somewhat where they're going, but not so much that they see each other's colors. And by the way, a few weeks ago, a commenter said that he learned to stop listening to everything I say because I told everyone to get rid of all their real rocks and replace them with fake ones.
That one's dumb.
Dude, I never said that. Okay, what I said was that I got rid of my real rocks and replaced them with fake ones. And if you have real rocks, then you just need to make sure that they don't have any sharp edges on them, or these fish are going to damage themselves on your rocks. The eye damage has become almost non-existent, and while I still lose one occasionally to the mystery death with no signs of foul play, it's pretty rare. So the reason African cichlids can be such a downer is because you have to be so careful with the decor, and even when you are, they can still spook and end it all by an impactful encounter with your aquarium panels. And by the way, am I the only one here that experiences these mystery deaths? Fine one day, gone the next, and a perfect looking corpse? Let me know in the comments if you'd be so kind. Alright, so you just spent the last hour making sure that your tank looks beautiful, just the way you want it. The sand's all nice, maybe a strategically placed rock here and there, a beautiful fake plant. Well, they don't have beautiful fake plants usually, but a fake plant here that looks just complementary to the rock that you place next to it. You're a genius for interior design. Well, enjoy it while it lasts, because these guys are the most vigorous interior decorators you're ever gonna find.
Let's move this sand over here. Somebody, I need a hole dug here pronto. Why is this plant here anyway? This isn't even a real plant.
That's what these guys are like, and I'm not even kidding. You'll feel so good with your mastery of designing the perfect scape, but you don't live there, do you? No. This is their yard, and they're gonna do with it what they want. And they'll do this for a couple of different reasons. Maybe one's gone a little more psycho than usual, and he's starting to build a nest. And a nest just looks like a bare spot in the bottom of the tank because they've transplanted all the sand from one location to another. They'll do this for hours on end. And another reason is that you might have a female in the tank and they're building a nice new home for their fry. But even without either of those reasons, it could just be because these guys are diggers. They dig. They sift. They chew. They spit. It's one thing that makes them so charming. And you know what? I actually like this about them. One of the top 3 things I enjoy about African cichlids is their redecorating skills. I like putting some things in the tank how I like it and see what they come up with. And sure, it may not look so hot to you, but imagine if you were a crazy fish. You'd go insane for a nice big pit and a crooked plastic plant. It can be a bit on the sucky side that your tank has a bit of a ransacked look to it by week's end, or even within hours. But if you're going to keep African cichlids, then you're just going to have to learn to love it. Enjoy the madness. Because if you keep these kinds of fish, then you're mad too. One of the things I love most about my tanks is setting up a stocking list of how I'm going to stock the tank. And I already told you it's kind of hard to do that with African cichlids because the availability of fish online isn't so great. And that goes across the board with cichlids pretty much. I mean, my American cichlid tank that I have on order, that's right, I actually ordered that. I have a stocking list of fish I want to put in that tank, and there's only about 2 or 3 of them that are available, so hopefully that changes. But even once you get all the fish you want in your tank, it's not about what you want so much as the right balance of fish in your aquarium. And if you get the wrong fish, then your tank will be unbalanced. If you're still here, hit that like button for me. Nice. Okay, unbalanced as I was saying. What I mean here is that sometimes it just doesn't work out. You do all your research to get the best fish to all get along in your tank, you've run the reports, and according to all the data, it should be a stocking list made in heaven. Everyone gets along just fine, no shanking, no shiving here, just blissful and uninterrupted peace. I mean, that's probably what your African cichlid tank is like, right? Well, maybe, but if you've been around these fish for any significant length of time, then you know that it won't always be this way.
Oh boy.
Someone's gonna wake up one morning and decide that it's time to let the past be past and be a brand new fish today with a brand new attitude. And all of a sudden, you'll notice that your peaceful nut job isn't so peaceful anymore, just a nut job. And wait, now this other guy's a jerk too. And now him? Will this ever end? Here's another scenario for you. Let's say you've been waiting forever for this one fish to become available. Let's say it's a zebra obliquidens. And finally, he's online and you can add him to your cart. So you do, along with a few other fish, because you never add just one to an African cichlid tank unless you want him to die. You order him, quarantine him, and then put him in your tank. And then your peaceful tank turns into a war zone, and it's all because this new guy isn't making an effort to fit in. So you might have a specific stocking scenario in mind for your perfect tank, but even though it may work for some people, it just isn't working for you for some reason. Every fish is different, and so is every tank. So you may have to settle for not having that perfect fish, like my Zeke the zebra obliquidens. And he is perfect, by the way. Tell me that you've seen a prettier zebra and I'll know you're lying. So yeah, with African cichlids, it's all about the right balance. And even though it can suck not to have the right species of Africans you want, achieving that perfect balance is more important than keeping your favorite types of fish. Another reason African cichlids can suck is because of what you have to do so often with these guys when it doesn't work out in your prison or asylum. So you know it isn't going to work out 100% of the time with fish you just have to have. There'll be some good ones, sure, but you know that there'll be some bad ones too. And even though you want them, it's just not working out. So what do you do once you've tried the timeouts, the shifting around of the decor, keeping the lights off, and whatever else the heck you're doing out there? Well, it's time to set them free. Give them a new start. It's like the witness protection program. And yeah, it sucks. Who wants to get rid of, rehome, a fish that you really enjoy? But if you're an African cichlid keeper, then you better get used to it. And it is hard giving away those gorgeous fish that you love. And yours probably even has a great personality, aside from his desire to kill everyone. But now he's got to go. So we have to be strong fish keepers, those of us in the African cichlid clan. So get used to it. Be tough. Still sucks though. But we can take solace in knowing that we make sure that they go to a good home, with someone who'll take good care of them in the right size tank. I like to rehome mine on Facebook Marketplace so I can check out the Fish Keepers page and see how large their tanks are and what kind of condition they're in. I don't want my boys going anywhere that I'll have to worry about them. However, if no one wants them, then I have a great local fish store called Fish World in Spokane, Washington, and they'll usually take some of my demon-possessed fish when necessary. They take good care of their fish, and that's important to me. So yeah, even if you find a nice new home for your fish, it's still a big reason why keeping African cichlids can suck big time. But it isn't all bad with these guys, is it? In the first video of this series, I mentioned how their colors and their crazy personalities more than compensate for their sucky qualities. How about feeding time? I love feeding these guys. Nobody gets more excited about food than these gluttonous buffoons, and that says a lot because I love food and they go crazy for it more than I do. Unless, of course, you don't like getting wet when you're feeding your fish, because almost every time they're going to splash water all over you. It's one of my favorite times of the day, and you know what else is cool about keeping an African cichlid tank? It's the sense of accomplishment you get when you keep a bunch of nut jobs together that are really violent fish, and they're getting along peacefully in your tank. Like right now, I have no aggression in my tank at all, and everyone's getting along just fine. And that's something that you can carry with you all day long. It feels good to know that you're doing something great with your fish. You're taking care of them, you're loving them, and you're making sure that they're all okay in a somewhat tricky situation. Not everybody can do that, and there's nothing like it. Or is there? What about American cichlids? What's the difference between an American cichlid tank and an African cichlid tank? If you want to know, check this video out right here. You've been watching the Cichlid Charmer, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.